Hello, I'm Fabian and I want to build a second micro-SaaS. And from a perspective of a software engineer, the crucial part is picking the right tech stack. So let's take a look into that. Of course, there are a lot of tools and frameworks out there, and it's always interesting to learn something new. I would argue the shortcut for building a micro-SaaS is really picking some languages and frameworks you know and you like. Of course, you see on YouTube and other platforms all this video about this new shiny framework and so on. But I would argue customers, they don't care about technology. They care if your product works. And I think you can ensure that if you really know the tool well and don't pick the newest framework and you just learned it in 1 week. Secondly, technology is always changing. So these days you maybe pick React or some newer tools like Svelte. But jQuery, it's a pretty old tool, but still, as you can see in the code here, it's used on 77% of the most popular websites. And if we take a look into the stats, which are referenced by this quote, we can see jQuery is still on the top, and tools like React just have a few percentages compared to jQuery. So that's really crazy. Another example is the programming language. So years ago, there was really a hype about JavaScript and all people were doing JavaScript. But now PHP has really a revival due to Laravel and other frameworks. And if you take a look into the numbers, it's still really used a lot. The point I try to make, really pick something you know and you like. There's always up and downs and technologies. There are always coming new tools around the block. But your customers, they really care if your product is good. So really, I try to pick something I know and I like. Having said that, let's take a look into my choice. If I would start today again, I would still pick the same stack as I am currently using. So it's Next.js, which is built on top of React. Why? So both of them are popular for years. So it's not like just a hype. React is there for a long time and has proven to be still on the top. Further on, they both have a huge community, which is great because I want to build a micro-SaaS. So I maybe need some plugins, some frameworks and so on. And for that, I think it's really great. And of course, you also get support in case you have some trouble. And they are backed by companies with money. So React is developed by Facebook and then the Next.js by Vercel, and they really both pump a lot of money in these tools. So they really stay there for years. Just one example from the Meta Connect this year. There's a blog article from the React team. They use, for example, React quite a lot in the context of the Meta Quest. I'm not really into that kind of stuff. What I really like about that, they push React forward. And why I personally think Next.js is great is because you can use it for really a lot of different use cases. For example, you can build a simple static website with that. Of course, you can also use tools like Hugo or other ones, but I really like the idea of learning one tool and then I know this one tool really great. And still, you have a great SEO. For example, my Fabi Tours page. It's just a static website hosted on GitHub, but still it's completely built with Next.js. And great is you still have, of course, all the support like having the robots.txt, having the sitemap and so on, but also having some kind of meta tags for the OG graph and so on. So it's all in there and I don't really need to think about how do I do this now with, for example, Hugo or some other language, which is more focusing on static websites only. And on the other side of the spectrum, you can also really build complex multi-tenant websites with Next.js. I also did this with my Wunderdesk. There's this platform template, you maybe know it. Just to quickly go over that, the website I built. For example, if you just enter the domain wunderdesk.app, right now it doesn't exist anymore, but there the landing page was served. But you could also go to dashboard.wunderdesk.app, and then there was served the space where the users could configure their websites, including having also custom domains. So this is the third error here. Then you have something like tenanta.wunderdesk.app or even some custom domain. And this points then again to the same next application, but it can have some different branding and so on. This 3 pages, this is just one Next.js app. And of course, when you build Microsoft, I would say it's great because you can build even something like that with this tool, and you don't need some kind of more complex tooling there. Further on, it supports like server-side code, client-side code. You can write APIs with that, and also micro front ends. So if you are needing micro front ends in a micro-SaaS, I would argue you are doing something wrong. But the point I'm trying to make, so you can have, for example, here 3 Next.js applications which are served under a different path. You can see it here. You can really use this one tool for a lot of different use cases. So I have to learn this, of course, for sure. But once I know that, I can use it really for building a lot of different micro-SaaS, and I think that's great. The conclusion, you can really use here this one tool for building a lot of different kinds of products or websites. And when it comes to hosting a Next.js application, I used in the past a lot Vercel because it's still the go-to place if you're having a Next.js application. But at least the last time I have checked, so if you do something commercially, then you have to pay, and it's also not always that kind of cheap. But yeah, it's really convenient to use, really easy to set up, which is great to start really quickly. But I also know the GCP cloud quite a lot, and I really liked Firebase. Recently launched there a new product called App Hosting. It's still a preview, but that also now allows you to host Next.js and also Angular on Firebase, which I think is quite great. Because for me, the difference is Firebase, of course, you can maybe somehow compare it to Vercel. You also have here databases, you have storage for files and so on. But for me as an engineer, the key difference is it's really well integrated with the GCP cloud, and I still can use all the features of the GCP cloud. While Vercel, it's built on AWS, but you can't use any features there, so you have to integrate everything yourself. Okay, and now to come back to my original shortcut. As said, I would really recommend picking something you know and you like, because customers don't care. My choice is really Next.js because you can use it for a lot of different use cases, and you get a lot of support and help in the online community, which is great. And what is your tech stack? Let me know down in the comments. See you, bye bye.